What's going on, you guys? This is Aaron from Departures Capital, and welcome to this week's Market Minute video. This is the first Market Minute video of 2023, and I'm excited to be back, guys. I'm excited to be chatting about the markets, and it has been a pretty good start to the year so far. I would say the markets are hopeful. We're not, out of the tricky situation just yet. We need more clarity on interest rates, but we have seen some movements for some of the stocks, and we're going to be talking about that. And as well as I have added quite a few stocks to my portfolio, trying to diversify. Got a brand new strategy for this year, and I'm pretty sure that all of us want to leave 2022 behind, at least for small cap investors and tech investors, just a lot of sectors in general. Energy obviously bucked the trend, but we'll be talking all about that later on in the video. So in this video, we're going to be talking about Wonderfi and the news, my thoughts just on the whole situation, what I'm kind of doing. So we'll get to that. Last but not least, if you do support the channel and all the videos, kindly smash that like button. It means the world to me and it helps my videos so very much, along with hitting the subscribe button and the bell for notifications on future videos. Drop me a comment down below. Alright guys, so let's get into the market recap. First, we'll briefly chat about the markets, what's going on. So in terms of the markets themselves, the S&P's up 0.4%, Nasdaq up 0.6%, and the Dow Jones Industrial Average up 0.3%. Market's pretty much having a calm day today, but we gotta talk about this later on in the video after we get to Wonderfi, and that is gold. Because gold has been the one thing that's really held my portfolio together over the past couple months, and haven't chatted as much about it recently. Took some time off for the holidays, but I'm excited to get back into these videos. So let's briefly chat about some headlines, guys. I do apologize, I'm a little rusty here. It's been a couple weeks since I shot a market minute, and we're gonna get back into the groove of things here. So Brian Moynihan says Bank of America expects mild recession and is preparing for worse. Our baseline scenario contemplates a mild recession, but we also add to that a downside scenario, and what this results in is 95% of our reserve methodology is weighted towards a recessionary environment in 2023. So, personally, I think that they're already there. The data is just a bit skewed. The CEO statement mirrors the earnings report from JPMorgan Chase, whose economic outlook calls for a mild recession in the central case. Bank of America beat estimates on their top and bottom lines for the fourth quarter, but its $1.1 billion provision for credit losses was a sharp reversal from a negative number in that metric a year ago. So bank earnings I expect to be pretty good with higher interest rates. Other sectors, growth is still going to suffer. The U.S. will hit its debt limit Thursday, start taking steps to avoid default, Yellen warns. So we've heard this a million times, but this is also good and supportive for the price of gold and silver. So another quick headline, Bitcoin hits 19,000. We'll talk about that a little bit later on, especially because we're going to be chatting about Wonderfi, but the SEC alleges Gemini Genesis sold unregistered securities. And this actually just kind of builds on the case of having, regulated, compliant trading platforms. So obviously we're going to chat about the news. And then big news for Tesla. So Tesla cuts prices in the US and Europe to stroke sales after lackluster year-end deliveries. So Tesla's actually cutting prices. The move in the US may help Tesla qualify for more federal EV tax credits and stoke sales volumes here and abroad after competition and interest rate increases. In Europe, Tesla cut prices on its Model 3 and Model Y vehicles in Australia, France, Germany, and the Netherlands, Norway, Switzerland, and the UK. That goes to show that there are definitely challenging times ahead, especially for these EV makers. And I gotta say, guys, I know there's a lot of Tesla bulls out there that probably watch this channel, but the stock absolutely got hammered over the last couple weeks, and I just couldn't buy into the Tesla hype. And I'm not gonna say I told you so, because you guys did make a lot of money if you traded it right, but it's just been falling like a rock. So Sweden finds Europe's largest deposit of rare earth metals, which could become more important than oil and gas. This is pretty cool. I just wanted to talk about this for 1 minute before we get into the actual individual news for stocks. So Swedish mining company LKAB discovered a 1 million metric ton rare earth oxide, which are used in electric vehicles and wind turbines. CEO Jan Malmström said it was good news for Europe, which imports 99% of its rare earth elements from China. So we do actually cover a number of rare earth element companies, specifically Eclair Resources and Monumental Minerals. So definitely an interesting sector to be taking a look at. In 2022, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said rare earth elements would soon be more important than oil and gas. And I can definitely see that in the short term. So I want to briefly talk about individual stocks now, specifically my portfolio, because it has really grown in terms of the amount of stocks and also a little bit when it comes to valuations. But let's just chat. So we recently did make some videos about Hypercharge. That's a brand new IPO. They build and operate charging stations here in Canada, and quite an interesting IPO. IPO'd around 40-50 cents. It's been hanging in there steady, especially in this market. So that is one interesting stock to take a look at. We're not going to spend too much time talking about that. Vendetta Mining, we've covered that in the past. I'm interested for that company because, just speculation, but last year a Chinese company took a pretty large stake in them, and I'm hoping for some form of, acquisition. They get bought out. That's kind of my goal there. So I did take a position in Vendetta Mining. Of course, still have Wonderfi. I've got a ton of shares of Wonderfi still. I've got over 300,000 shares of Wonderfi, so that's still a very large position of mine. Added extra gold because I'm very bullish on the gold market. When everything was, the world was falling and I had a reserve fund, I was like, I can keep this in cash, put it in bonds, or invest in something safe. So basically, I invested at the time pretty much all my money into gold and silver, and I bought Barrick Newmont, Agnico Eagle, and B2 Gold. So it's been a really awesome ride for these companies. We are going to chat about that later on in this video after we cover Wonderfi. But and then the rest of the portfolio, ESC, a new one, we will be covering them, interviewing their CEO actually in less than an hour. Mobilums came back to 3.5 cents, touched 4 cents today, so a little bit fueled by that crypto speculation with Wonderfi and all that, the M&A activity heating up. That's my philosophy because they haven't really put out any news. Wallbridge Mining also own that as another acquisition target potentially for the gold and silver sector. Copper Corp, NFT Technologies, Algonquin Power and Utilities, which has really struggled, and then X1 Esports actually just sold that today, so no longer have a position in X1 Esports, so we will just remove that from the portfolio. All right, guys, so first things first, let's talk about Wonderfi. So Wonderfi did get halted yesterday. They responded to the market speculation, and they also released, BNN Bloomberg released an article, CoinSquare Wonderfi in merger talks to create Canadian crypto giant. So let's talk a little bit about this. So shares of Wonderfi Technologies jumped as much as 22% before being briefly halted Wednesday after BNN Bloomberg reported the company was engaged in advanced merger talks with CoinSquare Limited. So CoinSquare Limited is a private company, which is quite interesting. So Wonderfi released a statement that they acknowledge these are preliminary discussions with other companies in respect to potential acquisitions and being acquired. These discussions are preliminary in nature and are ongoing, and no assurance can be given that any agreement or agreements will be reached or that the terms of the transaction will be agreed upon, the transaction will be completed. The company does not intend to make further comments unless or until an agreement has been entered into and there is a transaction to announce. Based on the way this stock is moving though, this is purely speculation. So please don't buy, sell, or hold the stock based on my opinion in this video, but my personal opinion, not financial advice, is that I think something's going to happen here. But once again, things do fall apart. In this article, we've got some interesting terms. So if a deal is announced, the combined exchange operators would have a combined user base of about 1.15 million users. Wonderfi said in November had about 650,000 users on exchange, 258 million worth of assets under custody, 45 million in revenue across BitBuy and Coinberry. CoinSquare's got about 500,000 users. So just talking about previous valuations, we know how much, they paid for BitBuy, Coinberry. CoinSquare had a pre-money valuation between 250 and 350 million. That's back in February 2021. So obviously we know where it's gone from there. So it's pretty crazy because this deal would be signaling that, there's consolidation happening, there's mergers and acquisitions happening. This would be a merger. But that this sector is getting through essentially the toughest of times. Because I would say the biggest blow up, the thing that leveled the sector was the whole FTX thing. Because everyone was like, right before it happened, I heard people, oh, FTX too big to fail, and then boom, everything just got leveled. Combined with tax loss selling, it was like an end of the world scenario for especially a company like Wonderfi, who is a crypto exchange trying to do the right thing, you could say, you know, going the regulated compliant route, but just could not see any mercy from selling in terms of tax loss selling, and then just overall sentiment in the sector, crypto imploding, FTX. It was just like a black swan event, you could say, worst case scenario. Other than the fact that the business itself was actually like, you know, is being held together, and it was actually, you know, a good business, you could say. So anyways, guys, I'm really hoping that this goes through. Let's take a look at Wonderfi, how it's been trading. So it has traded up. It's currently up 4.84% today. We did touch highs of 42 cents. Currently trading for 32.50. So there was most likely some profit taking, but a ton of shares traded today, over 2.3 million in Canada on the Canadian side. But the stock is up from lows of just like 11.5 cents. The stock hit a 52-week low at 11 cents. Now it's got a market cap of, you know, 69 million Canadian dollars, and you know, I'm just hoping that this thing can keep going. I'd love to see it hit 40-50 cents, hold that level. Maybe they announce, you know, the official merger, and then we see where it goes from here. But I will say that I think these are good signs for the industry. Mergers and acquisitions, consolidation, it's definitely what the sector needs. There's too much, you know, too many companies out there, too many ideas, and this happens with every bull cycle. So that's pretty much my take on Wonderfi, and I'm holding long over 300,000 shares, 300, I don't know exactly, I'd have to double check, but it's over 300,000 shares. So I pretty much held my entire position this entire time. Didn't take any profits. We're not going to talk about that. Pretty much held my position this entire time and looking for a recovery, but that would be really nice. So let's talk about a few interesting stocks now. This is one thing that has held my portfolio together, you could say, over the last like 3 months. So if we look at the last 6 months, or even the last year, I mean, B2 Gold bottomed around $4. I did buy in the low fours, and now we're up at 560. Now I really do think that this company has a lot of room to run, especially where gold is going. So B2 is one of the large cap gold producers, and it's still yielding 4%, which is super impressive. Gold's at 1922, so we're getting really close to 2000, and I really think that that's kind of that psychological level where gold investors are going to be like, wow, we're at 2000. If that holds, I think we're going to see a tremendous bull run, and these gold producers even could potentially get, you know, reevaluated. People are going to be more interested in the business, and it's going to be quite interesting. So we'll see what happens exactly here, guys, but I think there's a lot of upside. Even though these gold producers have ran, these are always the first ones to capitalize, because we haven't seen much happening in the small cap exploration space except for a select few names. But if we look, I mean, a year ago, Newmont was over $100 per share. We're at 72 now. Yes, we came up from the 50s into the 70s, but I feel like we could be in for a gold bull market like we've never seen before. And if that's the case, then all-time highs are almost certain for most companies. Now, once again, not financial advice, and I don't guarantee anything to happen. That's simply just my prediction. Same with Agnico Eagle. So Agnico Eagle has been a fantastic trade so far, probably the top performing stock from the 40s up to 75. Barrick as well, just looking really great. And these companies pay a dividend, which is crazy. So Barrick has gone from 17 to 26, paying 2.79%. So the yields aren't as juicy as they were just a couple months ago, but I still really like the gold producers. Now, I do have a select number of small cap exploration stocks that I will be looking at and potentially making more videos on. But I gotta say right now, it's looking really awesome for gold and silver. So we'll see how long it lasts. Fingers crossed we go into a multi-year bull market. That's kind of what I'm looking for. But yeah, with that being said, the last stock I quickly want to take a look at is Algonquin Power and Utilities. And this is one stock that's really struggled over the last little while. Now, there was a nice little run recently from about 880 all the way up to almost $10 based on speculation that they're gonna, give us an update and an investor call. Investors were getting excited, and they cut the dividend by about 40%, which I think was very much needed. Yet investors I know there's a lot of retail behind this name, and they just sold it off for the last 2 days. So I did add a little bit to Algonquin today. Kind of just gonna sit on this, see what happens. It still is yielding like 6%. So worst case scenario, I do think that, despite all their problems, they're in a great industry, green energy. It's going to be very favorable for the government, favorable for investment. So if they can iron out all these issues, deal with their variable debt when it comes to interest rates, and if we get some kind of pivot eventually sometime this year, I think Algonquin could have the chance to recover back up into the teens, the mid-teens, something like that. That would be great because it has had a very brutal year. This is the biggest plunge. It makes 2008 look like absolutely nothing because the stock has gone from 21 down to 892. And this is a utility company. This isn't a tech stock, a high growth stock. This is a utility company. So anyways, guys, I'm using this time, this environment, this time of weakness to load up on companies that, I feel like do have a good name. They're just stuck in an unfortunate situation. So we'll see what happens for Algonquin, and we'll be talking about many more stocks in the future, but I want to kind of diversify it, change it up a little bit, talk about a few interesting topics. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. That's it. We'll see you guys next week, and make sure to follow us on TikTok as we do have more content rolling out all the time. Along with Departures Capital, we'll have some brand new interviews. So we'll see you guys in our next video. If you like these videos, kindly hit that subscribe button and the bell for notifications. Drop us a comment down below. We'd love to hear from you. And finally, always remember, Departures Capital is for information, education, and entertainment purposes only. Don't buy or sell a stock because you heard it on here. Buy or sell a stock because you've done your research, you've done your thorough due diligence, and you're making your own personal investment decisions for yourself. This video is not financial advice. Furthermore, this video may or may not have been sponsored by the companies that we've profiled within this video, and we may or may not own shares of any of the profiled companies in this video. If you want to know the full disclosure details, check the description down below along with thoroughly reading our disclaimer. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I look forward to seeing you in our next video.